Today I'm running with Edge Addicts, so you see Ferraris, Lamborghinis, a lot of the high dollar McLarens. Behind me that pulled up in the grid was this Mustang Dark Horse R. Then we come around 15, and now we're right up on top of them. This is one that I've been waiting for a long time. So this is a 992 GT3 with the full Manthey kit.
Welcome back to It's Track Time.
Today I'm running with Edge Addicts. It's mid-December. The weather did not cooperate. We had rain the first day. I got maybe 1 or 2 sessions in the first day. Second day, it was not supposed to rain, but we woke up and it was raining. And so we had to let the track dry out. And then this is the first session that I was able to get out on the second day. So the track still has some moisture on it. A lot of the rubber got washed off. The grip level is not great. This is the first one I was able to get out on, and we'll take a look at the line and show you how, even when you look at the track, there can be one side of it that's dry and the other side that still has moisture. The rain in Texas can be very isolated, and sometimes you get the back part of the track is wet and the front part of the track is dry. So you really want to be careful and make a reconnaissance lap, look around and see where the moisture is, and then decide if you're going to push hard through the whole lap. On the plus side, there's a lot more GT4 RSs showing up at the track. Every time I go out there, there's more and more of us that are enjoying these cars. And then the event, we actually had 2 more Dundon-equipped GT4 RSs that were built up just right before this event. So the front one, you can see the black one, that's Matt. And Matt was the guy that I showed you in the silver GT3 in my last video. So he's gotten rid of the GT3 and he's transitioned over to the GT4. So this is his first time in the mid-engine platform, and he's going all out. So he got the full Dundon kit. That's been built up by Mike, and that car hit the grid this event. And then Larry in the blue GT4 RS, he has all the MCS and everything on the car, but he doesn't have the aero bolted on yet. So this was his first event with some of the Dundon stuff on. And I think he's got most of the suspension components on, but he still doesn't have all the aero bolted on. So that'll be the next event. But effectively, we're going to have 3 of these cars built up, and we're going to be sharing data. So that should be real fun. Larry and Matt are both great drivers, so I'm sure we'll be pushing the lap times down as we learn more about these cars. The other unique thing about running with Edge Addicts is you tend to see a different mixture of cars. For whatever reason, the exotics and some race cars show up to their track events. So you see Ferraris, Lamborghinis, a lot of the high dollar McLarens, you even see Aston Martins out there running. And so it's interesting to run with those cars, given that they're kind of like considered to be supercars, and you get out on track with them and see if the hype really holds up. It's cool that the people will take those high dollar cars out there and risk them on track, which is unique. You don't tend to see those cars in a normal track event. So it's a kind of unique environment. Behind me that pulled up in the grid was this Mustang Dark Horse R race car, which I've never seen one of these on track. So this is effectively a Mustang Challenge race car. It's their GT4 car, I believe. It has a 5-liter, 500 horsepower Coyote motor. It doesn't have the Voodoo motor. I was hoping it would have that, but apparently it just has the 500 horsepower Coyote motor in it. This particular car, if you read about it, I looked it up, and it apparently was stolen in October. They took the truck, the trailer, and the race car from a hotel parking lot, and later they recovered it and everything seemed to be okay. So you can see the car's back on the grid and everything's great. So I'm glad that worked out. But anyway, this is the first time I've actually been able to run with one of these cars, so this will be unique. Okay, so up the ramp we go to take a look at the track and see how much moisture there is on it. You can see as we go up the ramp, there's water. Even on the hill, there's kind of like standing water, which is really odd. I guess the concrete or the asphalt's porous enough that the water just stands inside of it, even on a grade. But as you come around here, you can see that there's still moisture on this part of the track. I'm on slick, so my tire pressure's at 24 PSI, so I've got it really low. I usually warm up a good amount before I start going hard at it. You can see here on the far edge of the track all the water, and there's just a dry line that's forming. I'm real cautious out here looking in to see what the heck is going on. So you can see one end of the track is wet still with the dry line, and the other end of the track is pretty dry. The Mustang seemed like he wanted to go, so I let him take a pass. I always warm up. Like I said, my tire pressures are at about 24 PSI. I need to get them up to about 30 before I go hard. And so I always take one lap, pretty low key, and try to work on my brakes, try to get a lot of heat in the tires, and then after that I start pushing. I've got new pads on this time, so I've got these RE10 pads, which I've run in the past, and I'm kind of resetting my braking points with these new pads. I love these pads. I've used them on all my old cars, but for whatever reason, I didn't put them on this car, and now Felix convinced me to put the RE10s back on this car, and I'm kind of liking them now, so hopefully I'm going to stay with these. The wear should be better. We only got like 2 weekends out of the Frodo pads, and these should go through maybe 3 weekends, so we're going to see what the wear is like on these. Okay, so I'm kind of pushing a little harder. The Mustang is still ahead of me here, and I'm trying to see if I can catch up to him now that I've got some pressure in my tires. You can see this part of the track still has some water on the edges, but it's not really affecting the slicks that much. Slicks don't like standing water, so you got to really watch out for any puddling that's happening. Generally on this track, it doesn't tend to stand, that tends to drain off, and then the cars, as they come over and generate heat, you get a dry line, so that's kind of where we're at right now on the track. Coming around the carousel, it looks like he's at a similar speed to me here, so I'm going to stay on his tail and see if I can chase him down when we get onto the front straight. He comes around the curbing. I try to go over the curbing here on 19. Now we come to 20. I'm going to brake hard and try to get right up on top of him here. Okay, so now I'm on top of him, and I'm going to see if he accelerates any faster. We both have 500 horsepower cars. I'm going to slide out so he can see me, and I'm kind of getting up close to him. He doesn't seem to want to give me a point by. And we get all the way up to the braking zone, and then he finally gives me a point by. You can hear the engine here. It's a nice sounding V8. So we come around turn 1 and dropping into turn 2. He's now in my rear view mirror, and now I'm going to get around this 991 GT3. Looks like he's going to let me go through right before the S's. That's great. And now you can see this green car up ahead of me, and I haven't seen one of these on track. I've got a buddy in California that just bought one of these, so it was interesting to see how this car pushed. This is actually a Lamborghini Huracán STO, which is what they claim to be their most track-focused street car. And this is a 5.2-liter V10, so it's got the Audi V10 in it, and it's 630 horsepower, so it has 130 more horsepower than my car. So this is kind of interesting because, you know, I'm in one of the more track-focused Porsche cars, and this is the most track-focused Lamborghini car, so this should be interesting. You see the dry line forming here on turn 11, and now here's the extra 130 horsepower, so you can see him just kind of just pulling away from me. And so there's your extra power that you get out of one of these V10 engines. The displacement, I'm a 4-liter and he's a 5.2-liter, so that's a lot of it right there is the extra displacement. Okay, now I'm going to brake hard here and try to get up on his tail. And I'm getting closer to him now. And so now we're going to come around here. You can see he takes a really wide line around 13, which is really odd. I don't know if he's trying to get around some puddles or what, but that effectively allowed me to get closer to him here. And then we come around 15, and now we're right up on top of him. And let's see how fast he goes around the carousel. This has a lot of downforce, so it should do pretty well on the carousel, and it looks like he's being somewhat cautious with it. It's a $350,000 car, so I guess maybe you should be a little more cautious with it. Now we're coming around 19. He's going to take it wide. I'm going to go up over the curbing, and then he gives me a point by. And he actually moved way to the side, which was real cool, so it was easy for me to stay on line and keep my speed up, so I appreciate that. Now we get onto the front straight, and let's see what kind of lap time this thing is. A 2:26, so not a great lap time. But now I've got the heat in the tires, so now I can start really pushing, and that's what I'm going to do on this next lap. I'm going to try to really put down a much better lap time. So here we come down the front straight. I got a couple cars up in front of me. I haven't really identified what they are yet. You can see one of them is that McLaren orange, so it's some kind of a McLaren. So as I come around turn 1, he is exiting turn 2. So I can barely see him. But this is actually one of the McLaren 570S GT4 race cars. So this is McLaren's kind of their entry-level GT4 race car. So I've driven one of these on track before. I had a friend that had one. It's a very easy car to drive fast. It's a very fast car. It's considered to be fairly lightweight. It's around 3,100 pounds. So it's very similar to the weight of the GT4 RS. But it has effectively 63 more horsepower than the GT4 RS. and it has phenomenal brakes on it. You can pull like 2 Gs in the braking zones. So it's a fun car to drive. So you can see how he kind of pulled away from me, and now he's going into turn 11 through that dry line. You got to be real careful to stay on that and not track out onto the water. And now you see the extra horsepower kind of walking away from me here. I'm going to try to close him down on the braking zone. There's one car ahead of him that I have not identified yet. And so I'm just focused on trying to close him down. So these cars are very similar. They're similar in horsepower. They're both track-focused cars, the GT4 RS and the 570S GT4. Now you can see I'm getting closer to him here, so I'm moving around that water, setting up for 13. Coming around here, let's see where he's at now. Okay, I'm getting closer, and now the car in front of him, I can start identifying it. So that this is one that I've been waiting for a long time. So this is a 992 GT3 with the full Manthey kit. So we've been talking about the Manthey kit. I considered purchasing the Manthey kit, and I ended up going with the Dundon kit. So this is the first time I've actually seen a full Manthey equipped car on track with me. So I was real curious to see how it would handle. The GT3 has a much better front suspension than the GT4 RS, so they got that advantage, and then they have the added downforce of the Manthey kit. This car is equipped with all the aero discs and all the stuff, the full package effectively that Manthey puts out. So I've seen several of these in Europe, but I've never seen one on track in the US. So this was kind of unique. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the S's here, and I'm going to try to close these guys down. So I'm a little closer to them on turn 2. Let's see if I can get enough power through here. I'm going to do this line where I'm going to stay on the gas through 3 all the way to 4, and then brake at 4, and I'm trying not to brake very much, and then going through 5 and 6 at speed. And I'm going to try to punch over the top of this curbing at 7 with I'm trying to just brush my brakes here now. I'm not trying to brake here. They actually stole our line on 8. You can see right here there's curbing. See the orange curbing they put in there to keep you on track. And so they, I don't know, they've effectively knocked out our cheat line there. So we had to kind of peel away as we came around turn 8 now. Okay, now we're coming down to 11 again. And let's see how far this guy's going to be away. Okay, I'm closer to him now. Now he is overtaking the GT3 Manthey car. So now the Manthey car is going to be the closest one to me. So I've got to get around it first before I can get to the McLaren. And he has successfully passed the Manthey, and now I'm going to try to once again brake really late and try to catch up to these guys. So now I'm very close to the Manthey car, and let's see if I go around 13 here and close this down a little more. That front suspension on the GT3, on the 992 GT3 is so good. You come around these low speed pieces and it really pays off. So now I'm getting real close to that Manthey. Let's see if I can close him down on the carousel. So I've got more downforce than him with the Dundon package. He's got the better front suspension, so he can really feel this a lot better than I can feel it with the McPherson struts on the front. Okay, now he looks like he got around the curbing there, and he went off track a little bit there, so he's trying to accelerate. And let's see if I can catch up to him here around turn 20. I'm trying to stay right behind him so I can get the advantage of the air pocket that he's producing. And you can see we have that same motor. That one has a shorter exhaust system, so it puts out more power. Okay, now I'm going to close him down here in the braking zone on 1, and he pulled out to the side, so I was able to get around him. So that was very nice. It didn't destroy any of our laps, so now I can try to chase down this McLaren. And so ahead of that now is another 992 GT3, and it's in that cool acid green color. I love that color. It's a hard one to get. You have to get a paint to sample slot to get that color, but it's effectively the color of a tennis ball. So it's a real bright, vivid color for the track. Maybe a little too loud for the street, but I love it on the track. Okay, so he's right up alongside of that car now, and that's kind of helping me to get up to him. And now he's going to try to get around that 992 GT3. let's stop here. Did you guys see what just happened there? Let's rewind and take a look at what just happened. My eye saw something. Okay, so if we rewind back to turn 9, we come around turn 9 here. Right at turn 10, there's a freaking car that's sitting up against the wall at turn 10. In turn 10, you're aiming right for that apex, and you can see the skid marks, and that open wheel race car slid around and went right up along the wall there and is wedged against the wall right at turn 10. I didn't see any flags coming up on that. But if you rewind and look at this in slow motion, you can see that there were 2 standing yellows. The guy wasn't waving the yellow, so we didn't catch it because I'm focused on this GT4 McLaren car in front of me, and I didn't see the 2 yellow flags that were flown right at the top of 9 on the inside. There was 1, and then you can see off to the side of 10 there's 1. But that just happened because at turn 8 there's a flag station, and there was no yellow at the flag station yet. That goes to show how dangerous this can be. That guy's in a really bad position there. He's right up along the apex where everyone's coming at about 110 miles an hour right into that apex. But anyway, that really surprised me. I just saw that car as I came around, and you're coming up over the top of 9. As you come down to 10, then you see the car, and by that time it's too late. You've already committed to the speed, and the last thing you want to do is hammer your brakes going down that, and then end up in the wall just like him. So yeah, very, very dangerous, but luckily he got out of there and didn't get hurt in any way. Okay, so let's continue this chase now that we've had that scary moment into turn 11. The McLaren's on the back of the 992 GT3. He's going to get a pass here and get around it. Now I'm going to have to split these two, so the 992 gives me a pass, and now I can sit behind the McLaren on the back straight. So he's got 62 more horsepower than me. He doesn't have as much drag as I have because of all the extra aero, but I'm able to stay behind him. I'm kind of in his slipstream right here. But now we come down. He's got much better brakes than me, so here I'm going to have to be very careful when I hit the brakes not to smack the back of him. So I'll come up right on the back of him there, and then he gives me the point by. So around I go and into this next cluster of cars. So anyway, that was a fun session. Grip was really strange because of the rubber being washed off the track, and there's still moisture on the track, but it was still worth it to go out and have fun with these cars. Hope everyone has a great Christmas and they get some car parts under the Christmas tree, and we'll see you at the next track event.